Hello, everybody. I am your host, Henry Galliett, and today we have a special episode covering the MCU. Now, what the hell does the MCU mean? Well, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, those fucking movies that you see everywhere, but you probably don't see, but your friends won't shut up about them. So we're gonna talk about that franchise today, and I got a very special panel here today. I got Troy and Mike. How you guys doing?
Not too bad, Henry. How you doing?
Doing pretty damn good. Mike, how you doing, man?
Doing really well.
All right, so we're gonna start off this by going through like all of the previous MCU films. So we're just gonna get right into it. So let's start with phase run one, right? So first movie ever, Iron Man 1. So what are you guys' thoughts?
Oh, that was one of the best things I thought when they started doing the Marvel Universe compared to when they used to do the old Spider-Man and the failures when they did the Fantastic Four. So when they finally did a series that I thought they did a very good job of getting it somewhere with the series where they missed out on so many other opportunities because they didn't have the technology to do the whole Iron Man armor, which is great because it really took and actually developed what we considered some of the best CGI out there now.
I totally agree. I think it proved that Marvel could take, like you said, something that they've always kind of treated as campy subjects when they did the little TV shows and the movies up to prior to Iron Man, and then they made Iron Man and gave it a serious plot. They gave it top notch CGI, which had to be convincing enough to where everybody thought Tony Stark was or Robert Downey was actually inside that armor all the time. So I think it really proved that the Marvel universe was viable and that they were going to be able to do what they said they were going to do, and they were done with the campy shows.
Yeah. Before we go on, actually, I forgot to mention this. Why is the MCU so like important to so many people? Why is it important to us, like especially at our age? Like, why is this the franchise that's like risen above like everything else? Like, seriously, like I want to dig deep into that actually before we go on anything else here, and we'll talk about more about it later on. But I want to get
Well,
your
for me,
guys' initial thoughts. Yeah, serious for
well,
both
for
of
me,
them.
Marvel shaped so much of my early drawing years and everything. That's where I learned to draw. Was I taught myself by mimicking what I saw in Marvel comics, and then I naturally read them too. And then just finally to see these characters brought to life in the MCU was just it's pretty much a childhood dream. So it just kind of took me right back to being a kid again, and all
Yeah,
the wonder of the comic books and everything. And then to see it on the big screen like that was
yeah.
just phenomenal for me.
Yeah, most definitely. You got anything to add, Troy?
Well, like he was saying, for I learned a lot of my drawing from Marvel and DC because that was the first stuff I ever saw. And when they tried to do the different, they did Wonder Woman. I mean, getting a little off subject here with the
No
MCU,
worries.
but it was like, okay, why can't Marvel do something like that? They had some great TV shows back in the day. That Batman one, Wonder Woman, all that. So it's like, when they go do something with Marvel? And when they started trying to they did do cartoon series and stuff like that, that just didn't seem to do very well and everything. And then they did the whole Marvel cinematic. It was like, they finally got it. They understood what everybody's looking. I always have enjoyed the whole genre of comics and movies and everything else, and trying to find a movie that I would actually enjoy. And that became what we see now as what's going on with the Marvel Universe. I was very pleased and excited to see where this would all lead down the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. It comes down to like three things for me. So first of all, I love the characters so goddamn much. Like the characters in this movie and all the movies have been like are always like well fleshed out. That you know what they are, you know what they stand for, and I understand like these movies aren't for everybody, and believe me, the internet can say that, can prove that. But overall, I think the movies have had a lot of good stuff to say. They're always, I mean, some of them have been bland, but some of them are very unique in a way. So I feel like, you know, it's the good characters, the great atmosphere. Anything can happen in this universe, and it's just, the directors and the stories, that they all seem pretty good to me. So that's why I love these movies so much. And plus, they got me into filmmaking. Like because of this, I've been making short films and writing scripts, and hell, I've even made 2 podcasts. So I love the MCU, and I will continue to love it to the future. And I know people would probably judge me for that, but fuck them, right? You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Well, one thing I want to say, really, what this is all really regarding, you look at what they did. They took 3 of the main characters for the Avengers, the 3 stones of the Avengers: Captain America, Iron Man, Thor. Those are the trilogy of what made the Avengers, and they kept them. They did them first. Did the one movie of each of them first, and got people interested in them. And then they did the Avengers with Nick Fury doing his part, and the history they built around it doesn't cover what the comic books did, but they took bits and pieces of that and shoved it in the right spots to make it flow to
Yeah,
where,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. I've always felt like comic book accuracy has never been like a thing for me because I never really read a lot of comics growing up. But
Mhm.
I just think like as movies, I think they work very well. And again, some people may disagree with that, but whatever. You can have your opinion. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it. But I still think they work as movies still. And I think
Yes.
that's really important. So yeah, you got anything else to say, Mike, before we move on to the other movies?
Well, no, touching on, like you said, the comic book accuracy, I think what they did by distancing themselves from being held strictly to comic book accuracy, they made these movies to where they'll last no matter how many times the timeline changes in the comic books, because, that's always one of the big things they love to do in comics. So I think by distancing themselves, by not exactly following the comics, they made this series of movies able to stand the test of time, I think, because
Yeah,
it'll always be its own contained story, but with familiar callbacks for those of us that enjoyed the comics.
yeah. Do you think like this film series will be remembered in like history, cinematic history?
Oh yeah.
It's got to
Oh
be.
yeah.
I mean, just for sheer scope of things, right? I mean,
Yeah. Well,
there's never been a 10-year interactive, intertwined set of movies like this.
yeah,
Yeah. You figure the number of years that this has been around and what it was all encompassing and everything else. They're never going to have anything like this again unless they do it right the first time. And just to see if they do it right going forward is going to be the whole, true test of time. Um, it's now it's what's going to happen from here out is where we're going to see some of the directors still coming back and doing Marvel stuff, and how Disney's going to take and run with the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe and everything else. I mean, what they're already talking about doing in the previous podcast we've talked about, like with the Eternals and everything else. Holy shit! If they do some of the stuff out there that's been out there, and what some of us who've been around enough and around for so many years to have seen it all, it should be quite the amazing feat if they can pull it off.
yeah,
And it will be well worth it.
yeah. I actually think that this is this generation's Star Wars. I mean, I know like some like cinephiles, which is kind of dumb when you think about it out loud, will probably say, "Oh, this is just the best thing in producing wise, but it's not the best thing cinematic wise." And I understand that, but at the same time, like these movies did like do something for a lot of people, and that shouldn't be you know like understated at all. So I feel like yes, it's gonna be remembered, and I hope it does. And some people will criticize it, and that's fine. But on the other hand, whatever, right? I'm just glad we had a world where these movies existed. So anyway, we're probably gonna get on to the other films as well. So yeah, the next film, Incredible Hulk. Actually, wait, before we go into that one, I wanted to give my thoughts on Iron Man. I really enjoy it. It doesn't hold out for me than the other MCU movies. The weird thing is about me is that I actually enjoy the more current MCU films than the older ones. I mean, I still like them. They're just not as good as the ones that are out in cinemas now. But that's just me. But what do I know? So yeah. Anyway, we're getting in on to the Incredible Hulk. There you go.
Okay. Well, for me, the Incredible Hulk had some failures for the first few. I mean, you figure they did, how many movies did they do? They did 3? and only one stood out, but then they didn't bring that actor back. They instead got the current Ruffalo, and I actually like him as the Hulk. It was very weird though for them to try and figure out how to make it work, because they were trying to be too much the TV show back in the 70s. That was great back then, but it was too kiddish, too funny. Hulk is anger and rage, so it didn't sit well with me at first. But when they finally resettled for the Avengers series version of him, I think they did a great job. So yeah, that was not one of the set of movies I bought for my collection of all the Marvel stuff. I do not own the one version of him.
Yeah. I agree. So we're on the Incredible Hulk now. I thought it was, again, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like, it's probably one of the weaker MCU movies to me. We'll get more into that as time goes on, but I think it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Out of all the 3 attempts they tried to do with the Hulk in the movies, it's by far my favorite. But as for an MCU movie, yeah, you're right. It kind of seemed out of place. I was also kind of disappointed that they didn't keep what's his name? Norton? Ed Norton?
Yes, Ed Norton, yes.
I'm kind of bummed that they had to switch Bruce Banners right at the beginning of the series. But at the same time, I also like Mark Ruffalo. I don't think Ed Norton could have brought the character like Ruffalo did.
Yeah.
Just his acting style is a little bit more serious, I think. But I think Ruffalo actually added a really good dynamic of both the believable nerd and then the inspiration for the Hulk stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I'm actually off of Twitter and I'm gonna get off that. Just sorry to get on like to get up off here, but Twitter's fucking awful. Like the worst of humanity is like like on Twitter. Like, oh my god, like I never knew you could like show like the worst part of yourself in like 20 words. That kind of tells you a lot about like the human spirit, but whatever. Okay. So yeah, you guys ready to move on to Iron Man 2, I guess?
Yeah.
So yeah, Iron Man 2, I think this movie's bad. I really think it's not a good movie at all. I mean, again, has some 1 or 2 good moments, but overall it doesn't really work all that much as a movie, personally. But that's just my opinion.
They were doing a lot of, you got to figure for Iron Man 2, they're trying to do more of his history, give you more of his background, give you more of how he had to fight for what he is and everything else, because in the comic universe, he dealt with a lot of things that they did not put him through in the movie versions and stuff. And I think they're trying to give you more of a background of who he would be, who he was, how he became who he was, and everything. And it wasn't a very strong movie. I actually liked Iron Man 1 the most, of 1, 2, and 3. So I think it was just what they could do at the time, and they're just trying to get a feel for who he would become.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Iron Man 2 was not by any means one of my favorite movies, but I did kind of like the teaser they put in it. That's only a teaser now of when Whiplash was fighting Tony Stark, and then they've captured him, and he's in the interrogation room. And Whiplash is talking about how if you can make God bleed, people will lose faith in him. And then the call back to Infinity War when Tony's going through all of that, and then he just gets all of that for a drop of blood from Thanos. But it kind of, to Tony, if he remembered that remark from Whiplash, that probably could have been one of the things that made him so strong to believe that they would be able to beat him. So out of that, I think that's probably the only cool Easter egg I take away from 2. Other than that, it just seemed like they were It seemed like a movie to play with CGI suits, in my opinion.
Oh, to get a start of his build of his armor is what I think they were trying and still do.
Yeah.
And I figured that was the suit of armor that they put into where it was the one where it's more, it came apart from the suitcase that carried it in, which was very common for him in the comic books, is that after a while he was carrying his armor with him everywhere. He didn't, where before he'd have to have it in the trunk or whatever, and it just wasn't available. And I think they finally did a smart move and got it in the right way for it to be handled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay. I think we've said a lot about Iron Man 2 now, so this is probably gonna go really quickly. All right. Thor, I believe that was the next one. I liked it. Like again, none of the Phase 1 films for me have like stood out the most to me, but I still thought Thor was okay. It was good. Yeah.
I was always a huge Thor fan when I was a kid growing up. I read all of his comics, so I was nervous as hell about that movie before they released it, because it's a character that really only appeals to a certain audience for the most part for the longest time, and I had no idea how they were going to bring it to the theaters, and I was actually quite pleased with it.
Well, you got to figure too, no one knew Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He was such a new person on the scene, and that's one thing about the Marvel Universe too. They took actors and actresses, some of them who were slightly known, some who were well known, but had gone through trauma in their real lives, to unknowns completely. I mean, no one knew. They're just, for some of us, it was like eye candy. Great looking guy. And the fact that he was able to bring it in the first movie as who he was, and the fact he had to suffer and everything else, just like for the comic books, he had to suffer to become who he was and who he would be. And he suffered through basically every movie he does, 1 through 3, he does that, of some kind of suffering, which I think makes him more human for us as he goes through all the changes he goes through to finally make it to the last movie, which we'll talk more about later. But I just was, that's the one I'm having the hardest time trying to find the copies for. People want to sell the first movie for Thor for $50.
What?
Like, yeah, I go to Amazon all the time looking for it. $50. It's like, hell no. I got all 3 Iron Mans for $20.
Yeah.
Deal. So it's like, okay, just 2 or 3 part piece like they did with the Iron Man ones. I'll just buy that and I'll put them to the side. But yeah, it's a series. It was Iron Man. Thor 1 was actually a good start for him. They really did a good job of him and introducing the Warriors 3 and Sif, which they didn't keep doing enough of them in the later ones.
Right.
But, oh well, that's what can you do? You can only have so many actors and actresses in every one in the movies.
Yeah, I mean, we kept too much of a story going with the Warriors 3 and Lady Sif, then you'd have to look at a whole other line of movies coming out too, probably, to follow them.
Which
and that just seemed like too much, which could probably happen, yeah. But that just, at the time, for where they were going, I could see where that would have been a distraction from the literal end game.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So like the next one will be Captain America.
The first Avenger.
Yeah, definitely.
They did that really well to put him through everything they did. That was how it should have been. The fact that he was they made him like, oh, we're going to use you as propaganda first when he got his powers, because they were afraid of losing him, of something happening. And then finding out that he did make an excellent fighter for the cause of justice and the American way and everything else, to stop the Nazis and everything else, and to introduce Hydra, which has always been around, that people did not realize was always part of a lot of the series of stuff they did to mix up the Avengers and everything, that was always a backstory that no one ever saw until, of course, the TV series Shield.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it was pretty good. It had a good structure. I actually like the villain. I like the villain Red Skull. I think he's a good villain. I thought the action was pretty good, and it's from like the guy that did Rocket Man, s- uh, Joe, whatever, whatever. I liked it. It was good. It was good. God, those Twitters.
I'm
Oh my
pulling my
God.
movies if you need to for anybody's names. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I have them right by my computer. On my favorite stuff stand. So, but I mean, we were introduced to a lot of future characters with Captain America, the first Avenger. I mean, we were introduced to so much of what to and still not knowing what they were planning to do with the whole series of stuff. That was the whole thing. Is like, what are they going to do next?
Oh, okay. Oh, fuck. I'm in a Twitter battle with like this German journalist guy. I was saying to him like, look, man, I love blockbuster movies, but I also go to like he was sort of saying like, oh, like the MCU making like $1 billion today means other films won't get made. It's like, are you
Oh,
fucking?
that's bullshit.
That's so
Whatever.
bullshit. Like,
That is the propaganda of many Twitter trolls that just don't comprehend what will they do.
okay, so I gotta read you the right tweet here. So a major corporation that's eating the rest of the entertainment wide made $1.2 billion at the box office this weekend, and you're celebrating as a personal validation of your fandom. Okay, I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, like celebrating a personal validation of your fandom, like really, like I don't know. Like to me,
He's not worth talking to anymore.
I know I can't.
No, yeah, he's unchangeable in his opinion.
And that's all right. I mean, look, fine. Again, and I'll say this again. Look, if you don't like the MCU, that's fine. In fact, I actually watched this other video yesterday talking about whether or not superhero movies are in fact during cinema. And actually, the numbers actually came in here. So there's only like 8 superhero movies made per year. And yes, they do make a lot of money, but also there's also films like that. So like at the same time, it's like look, the fact that people go enjoy these movies like isn't bad really. If people want that, it's what they want. I mean, and also there's also this, we'll get into this like next week, but oh my God, that really upset me, especially going to see. Actually, I kind of saw Endgame this Sunday, just for the first time with my mom, and it was really nice, and everybody was happy. And I know it's Disney, it's the large corporation, and they do shitty things. I'm not going to deny that. But, God, whatever. I just, he's replying back to me. I'm just going to shut this thing off.
Well, at the
Oh,
same time, to go against his opinion, him saying other movies won't get made, I was like, actually, after a huge success like that, with that much money in the bank now from something like that, that usually tends to make them take more risks on other items. So
yeah.
maybe a movie that wouldn't have gotten any funding might all of a sudden get $1 million floated to it.
Oh yeah,
I honestly think a huge blockbuster like this does do great for everybody else because it kind of says, okay, well, we had that. Let's try this one and see how it goes. Instead of just falling into the same cookie cutter mold that Hollywood seems to have been in for a while, or remaking everything.
Yeah, but, it's kind of us that's doing that. But also, actually, there's like a lot of like original films coming out this year that I'm looking forward to. 21 Guns, Gemini Man this fall, and The Long Shot next week. I'm actually gonna go see that next week. It's gonna be pretty fun. So like, I'm watching a lot of fucking movies. All right, like there's only like so many goddamn movies I can see it, and I'm actually writing a fucking like article like about film fandom as a whole, like the snobby bullshit that it is. Like, think about that. Like, I don't know about you, but watching like more movies does not make you a better person. Like, here's the thing about film fandom. Okay, we're gonna make a caveat here. My biggest fucking problem with film fandom is how fucking snobby it is. Like, it's just become this like just pathetic, like incel-y loser hipstery bullshit. It's everything that the baby boomers like thought us to be.
Yeah.
Like self-obsessed, like narcissist. It's just like I don't know. I just it makes me and it makes me like harder to like enjoy movies like nowadays. I can't enjoy any movie anymore with the back of the thought. I'm like, oh my god, like we're gonna have the fanboys and the cinephiles, which again, like isn't exactly like something I don't know. I'm not gonna say it, but it's just
Well,
pathetic to me.
look at it this way. It is MCU is what Star Wars was in the 70s. And it took them a long time to realize they needed to continue the storyline because movies were that was just so expensive back in the day, and it didn't make the money they were hoping to make it back in the day. When people, we were going through multiple crises with finances and everything else in our world. We have more people spending more money nowadays for all these items to go to movies to spend. You got theaters now that are revamping themselves to be less people in them. They're not crowding the theater no more, and they're actually making the seating comfortable. They're adding more at stake within their own facilities, and it's going to take some time, but it's going to be happening.
Yeah, I'm just so fucking tired of like all of this bullshit about like oh like there's not any other original films. Well, yes there are, and if you want to go see them you can, but if you don't, that's fine. like like dictating what movies people can and can't watch, like that's even more fucking like disgusting to me. Like yeah, sure, maybe like watching remakes, reboots, sequels probably isn't the best for society, but it's their choice, right? It's their choice. And if you don't like that, that's fine. You can go watch other movies. Like, I'm just so fucking tired of the bitching and whining over like first world petty bullshit. It's like, Jesus, read a real newspaper. Like, get off of Hollywood Reporter and start reading real fucking news. Like, the fact that, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's just, oh, God. I'm going to be cleaning up that for the next couple of days. So yeah, but I'm writing an article, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it, but whatever. But anyway, let's get back to Captain America. Let's get back to the show here. I'm sorry, I just had to like get that out there, man. Like personally, and look. Yeah, would it be nice if more people saw original films? Absolutely. Like I like that like zombie movie produced by J.J. Abrams that came out last November. I saw it in theaters. It was actually really fucking good. Anyway, yeah, just this is what happens
J.J.
when you have
Abrams made a zombie movie last year.
yeah, it was like the one you saw like on our first episode, like on the
Oh,
podcast.
Overlords.
Overlords,
Overlord.
yeah, good. Like this is what happens when you don't have like varied interest.
Yeah.
Like look, I love movies, I do, but they aren't my life. All right. I have a passion for them. I will support movies that I see fit, but they aren't my life. All right. And unfortunately, a lot of people on Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere else, and this is their life. This is what they do. And again, nothing wrong with that. That's your choice. You get to do what you want in life. You do whatever you want, but just doesn't mean I have to agree with that, but I'm just so done with this. Like, just oh, people, this cynical eye of everything, and it's just Jesus Christ, people, just let it go. And I understand. Look, the fact that Disney owns Fox now, that's probably not great at all. Probably, actually, I would say it's damn near terrible. But there's nothing you can do to control it. The best you could do is support original movies coming out from Fox this year, and I've been telling people this on Facebook. Look, if you want original films from Fox, you got to support them. All
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
got to do that. All
Look at
right.
Netflix. Look at Netflix did. They did a lot of original stuff.
And here's the funny part. These are the same people that say, "Oh, I'm not interested in Netflix original content." It's like you're part of the fucking problem, dumbass. Like you're part of the problem. You don't get to dictate to me as somebody that like goes sees like original movies and like blockbusters saying, "Oh man, nobody makes original films anymore." Fuck, like just like went bankrupt like a week ago. Like Missing Link, that movie bombed. All
Yeah.
right, you don't get to like complain to me about like original movies when you didn't do anything about it. So shut the fuck up, all right?
Yep.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Let's get away from it.
We'll talk about that next week, all
Yeah.
right? I'm sorry. I really got to get something out of there about that. Anyway, um, so the Avengers. Anybody want to talk about that?
How that was my childhood dream come true to see all those characters together in one movie. I I was honestly skeptical up until they opened it, but then because I was like, how are you going to get that many egos and that many big stars on screen all at the same time? And they did it, and they all
Yeah.
worked well. The chemistry was awesome between them all. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
And that's the same thing I thought too. Was like, how are they going to do that and everything?
Yeah.
And they did a wonderful job of doing it.
especially giving everybody almost equal screen time, sort of, it seemed, because that's what I was worried about, is they were going to focus too much on the big actor's story and not explore everybody else. But I thought they touched on everybody very nicely in the movie.
And I have been a big fan of certain actors and actresses that did end up in this too. So it made it very good. One, to see them take their new projects to the next level, and knowing what they had gone through and done in their lifetimes and the prior stuff they've worked on, and then seeing them enjoying what they're doing again and having fun and doing the interviews and everything else. When the Avengers came out, there was such interesting interviews with the groups of these actors and actresses on the different talk shows. It was fun. And it was amazing just to read, to hear each one talk about how certain people acted. And especially I feel sorry for poor Black Widow being the only female on the team at that time.
Oh, yeah.
She said she had to put up with so many man jokes and stuff, or pull my finger jokes and everything while she was on the show. It's like, yeah, I feel sorry for her. But they still did a wonderful job of doing everything they did. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good. Like the more I watch it, the less I enjoy it though, especially like for everything that's happened. I still really enjoy the movie. Like of all the movies of the Avengers series, I would put this at number 3. Like here's my list. Endgame number 1, Infinity War number 2, the first Avengers number 3, and Age of Ultron at number 1. At Avengers Age of Ultron at number 4. So yeah, I really enjoy it. The chemistry is pretty damn good. Yeah, the action's fine. I've like seen the New York battle like 1,000 times during my high school years, so I've pretty much kind of like glazed over that part. But overall, I really enjoyed it. So like again, like it's a good payoff to pretty good movies to a great movie, I think. So I think that's good. So we're gonna go on to phase 2 here. So Iron Man 3. I liked it. I really do like it as time goes on. Like it's one of those movies that the more and more I watch it, the more and more I enjoy it. And I don't watch a lot of Marvel movies like repeatedly, like in a span of time, because I kind of want to keep that fresh and go see other movies as well. So yeah, I did that. It was pretty good. So yeah, good movie. The man interest didn't bother me that much. So whatever.
Extrant was my favorite part,
Yeah, good.
because I thought that he was a good villain behind the scenes that we did not know what was going on until it was too late. And knowing that he had created something similar to the super soldier formula, which did not, but instead had a chance of destroying a person instead, then him also just making sure to, it was a good revenge movie for someone to be after after Iron Man for other reasons other than, I did something, you didn't want to listen to me, I tried to be there to be part of your team, and then you decided to ditch me at the last minute. It wasn't like the other stuff in Iron Man you know, it wasn't his, you know, his uncle. It wasn't his whatever. It was just really good.
Yeah. I still think it's pretty damn good. It's one of the movies that the more and more I watch, the more and more I love it still. I think it's still pretty good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm out of it, guys. Like that tweet just really made me angry. That like Twitter thread just made me angry. But
Walk away, Henry.
I'm
Walk away.
sorry. I know. It's just like really
Deep
any
breath.
anyway, so yeah, do you guys want to move on to the next one?
Yep. Well, let's go ahead. Unless Mike, you have something.
You got anything else, Mike?
Honestly, listening to you guys, I need to go watch Iron Man 3 again because the first time I saw it, it was kind of forgettable to me.
Yeah.
And it just never really stuck back. So I'll probably go give it I probably owe it another watch or two to give it a fair shot because I only saw it the one time. And just thought it was just a little much towards the end with the house party and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, come on. So I was like, why didn't you just do that at the beginning? But so yeah, I need to probably watch it again to pick up some of the stuff I missed.
Well, that's the whole thing. Sometimes you have to watch these 2 or 3 times. I mean, you look at all the eggs they had in all these things.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So next is Thor: The Dark World. So I actually did not like this film at all. I think it's absolutely it's bad. It's really bad. I didn't like that one.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, it's probably my least favorite, even though it is my favorite character on the good guy side.
Yeah, definitely.
It pained me to see how badly they blew that movie.
Yeah, it was one of the worst of the 3 Thor movies.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
definitely the worst of the 3, I think.
Yep. But it's still but it had to include the Infinity Stone. That's the only reason for it. I mean,
I think that's part of the problem is at least all the other movies, even though they too were about the Infinity Stones, they weren't always technically about the Infinity Stone.
Yep.
It seemed like the Dark World was the first one that focused on it so much. And I just don't think it had anything else to tie it into what was going on yet. I mean, looking back on it now, you can see what's going on, but at the time, it just it just felt kind of shoehorned into me.
Well, they didn't say any of the other stuff was the Infinity Stones yet, so a lot of us who knew what these were would have gone, "Holy fuck!" We would have known what was coming on. We would knew what was going to come up. Especially for me, since I have read every Infinity series they've ever done. I know all the stuff about it. I didn't read all the comics series. I read the runs of the stuff. So I did do some of the Infinity Watch, all that stuff, which I'm like, oh please, what we're going to see, what are we going to see next year, what are we going to see next year? So my hopes are up for a few things. But yeah, I don't Thor: The Dark World. Yeah, it wasn't my most favorite. It was a good character build though for Jane Foster though, so I was happy about that because they gave her a little bit better backstory and what was going on in her life, and also introduced more of the Asgardians where they didn't really cover too much of it before. So
that, and I think the other reason for Thor: The Dark World was just to set in place of how the Collector got the Reality Stone, because I'd forgotten that the after scene credit was the Warriors 3 taking the ether to the Collector.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I had to watch it again to go watch the after scenes credit for that, and I was like, okay, because even during Infinity War, I was like, well, how the hell did he get the reality? Because I knew when they tried to sell him, when Guardians of the Galaxy, when they were going to sell him the power one,
and they had it. We were like, how does he have one already?
Right, yeah. Exactly, yeah. And so again, that was just another forgettable point about Thor: The Dark World, I think, where they failed the movie, was that was actually a pretty important after scenes credit, and a lot of people even forgot it. I mean, myself included, I forgot about it and had to go watch it again.
Oh, I did on a few of the stuff. I had to go rewatch, going, I don't remember that. But that's the whole thing about eggs.
Yep, exactly.
Don't know about it until someone points it out. And there's people that's all they do is they watch a movie for that detail.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it that much. But anyway, we'll get on to the last the next one, Captain America Civil War. I actually did love this movie still. I know. Have you guys seen that video, Patrick Aites video, The Limitations of the MCU?
No.
No.
Okay, never mind. We're not gonna talk to it. We're not gonna get too deep into it. I mean, it's a great video series, and there are some valid points, but I don't agree with. I think he's kind of way off there, and I do love his channel so much, but some of the stuff in those videos, I think he kind of. Well, I'm not gonna say he's wrong because film's subjective, but whatever. Who cares? Anyway, yeah. So I think I think I think this movie. To me, this one again. This is another one of the phase two that gets better and better as time goes on. Like I think the Winter Soldier plot was pretty good. I think Sam's introduction was great. I think Captain America struggling in the new this new era of Hydra. I think that was pretty damn well done. I'm just it's a good movie, and I enjoy it very much. So it did have a lot to say about like the CIA type of things and the collapse of Shield. I thought that was pretty good as well. So yeah, you know, good.
Yeah, and that was the thing, and that helped bring the TV world into this whole thing too,
Yeah,
because they started doing crossovering of the stuff with the whole Marvel Universe Shield TV series into it. So it was like giving little bits and pieces of what we could see and expect
yeah.
and stuff. And so it was like, okay, where are we going to go with this? Where are we going to go with that? And stuff. So, but yeah, a lot of this stuff has been pretty good for that reason.
Yeah, definitely. Do you got any thoughts on it, Mike?
I actually enjoyed it. I think it's one of my favorite ones. Actually, the more, like you said, the more I watch it too, I just I don't know. I think it would actually even be just a good standalone movie on its own, which is what I think made it so special for me. It was like, you could not even be following the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you could watch this movie by itself and be able to tell everything that's going on. And so it just kind of felt like a really good action movie to me, just that could have stood on its own and tied into the universe. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think it's pretty good too. So next film is Guardians of the Galaxy. I really did enjoy it. Like I think that film is also pretty good. Again, it's sort of like where Marvel's trying to start stepping up their game. Like 2014 was a great year for them. Like I think it was probably their best year in phase two. Like I think phase two was kind of a misstep for them. Like phase one was a good start. Like it really ramped up. But yeah, I think Phase Two is pretty good. Guardians of the Galaxy is a great movie. The characters are great. The whole atmosphere of the world is great. I really think, yeah, I really think it's a good movie. I think, yeah, it's good. I'm sorry that I'm like scatterbrained once again, but
I was very surprised with Chris Pratt, having seen him in Parks and Rec, him not being in the best of shape when he did that, knowing that he's originally from Seattle and everything and stuff,
yeah, he
and
is right.
yeah, he's from up north. Um, I can't remember where. I know a friend of mine actually met him in the bar one day right after Guardians was done, and it was like, you bitch. Uh, but just to see how he developed into that character, how they did Groot, how they did Rocket, and everything else, it was amazing. It was a good beginning for them, and to deal with a stone and everything, and to bring forth some of the stuff that we needed to bring it even further along, and to introduce Thanos as a back in the back of the movie thing, And I'm going, that's gotta be Thanos. That's gotta be Thanos. I'm thinking to myself, and because you don't see him for the first few next movies, you don't see who it really is, and it's like, oh, man, they doing what I think they're doing? Oh, are they? And it was like, oh, okay. After that, it was like, okay, we know where we're going. So I was very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous about Guardians of the Galaxy as well because I thought that was going to be a. It's kind of looking back at the whole MCU now. They actually literally took us on the same journey that everybody on the planet Earth had to go through of all of a sudden realizing there's space out there too, and there's all these other things. So I mean, you kind of got the light intro, do it with the Thor movies, but then Guardians of the Galaxy actually finally stepped up to the next level to actually bring space and all of these other planets and everything into the universe as well. And that's kind of what I was worried about how they were going to bridge that gap because I was like, that's so far all the Iron Man and the Captain Americas and stuff, they've all been pretty realistic, and space is going to be so science fiction for so many people. I was wondering how they were going to make them meld, and I think they did a really good job with Guardians.
Yeah, I think so too. So, now we'll get on to the last two MCU movies of Phase 2, Avengers: Age of Ultron. This is another one that as I go back, it's not like it's not good. Like again, there are some great elements to it. Like it's probably one of the most beautiful MCU films of the entire franchise as a whole because again, it literally has that spark to it. It has the contrasting like images here and there. So that's pretty good. I really did enjoy it. That part, but everything else, like I think Vision's introduction was kind of lazy. I liked Ultron as a villain, but I think like he maybe did one or two jokes, probably not so much. But again, that's just me. Yeah, I thought it was okay. Again, look, I know I'm like saying like, oh man, there's just like there's only like two or three movies that I've only like loved of this part of the MCU. For don't worry, I'll get into Phase 3. I actually will have a lot of great favorites in Phase 3. But that's just me. So anyway, what do you guys think of Age of Ultron?
For myself,
Yeah.
being a long time comic book reader, an Avengers fan, and everything else, I was a little upset of who that they made Tony Stark the father of Ultron instead of who it should have been. But they did keep everything else along the line it should have gone, which was Ultron trying to develop himself, trying to build a better world, that looking at humans as their own worst enemy was the whole comic book series version. So it was like really nice. And the fact that he is the one who basically gave birth to Vision, and everything. And the way they did it through the stone being the one that actually caused both of them to really be created. It was like, I'm liking that. I'm liking how they took the stone and made it part of the whole integration of making who's who and stuff. I think they could have done it a little differently on introduction of Wanda and Pietro, and having them tie in a few of the loose ends there. I don't like the fact they killed off Quicksilver so quickly. I think it would have been nice to have seen him longer, but due to the conflict of name between X-Men and the rest of the MCU was a big issue. I think that was lame for them to use that as an excuse and all that. So I think, though, it wasn't a strong movie. It wasn't the best movie. It was a good place to go, though, to introduce some very major players that need to be introduced.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it just doesn't work as a movie overall. And again, look, I'm not saying you're bad if you enjoy this movie. That's fine. All film is subjective, which unfortunately the film fan community doesn't actually get, positive or negative. But again, these are just fucking movies. All right. So yeah, anyway. Sorry. Anyway, the final film is Ant-Man. I liked it. Like it didn't like blow my socks off or anything, but it still was a fine movie. I still really enjoyed it. Again, like the other movies in Phase 3, I'll give more outstanding praises because a lot of stuff happens in that period of time because it's more of a standstill in the Phase 1s and 2s. It's where like real shit happens. So yeah, I think it's all right. Nothing too big.
Yeah, I got a kick out of it. I think Paul Rudd actually made the movie. I don't think anybody else probably could have done that role so well as he did. And because honestly, Ant-Man has always been kind of one of those characters that I never really cared much for, and just because I always like the nerd, always gets stuck up on the physics of what's going on in it, and it's like, no, that's not how that works, But I was able to go into it and kind of, was it suspension of disbelief or whatever, and so I enjoyed the movie. I actually enjoyed this Ant-Man versus Wasp, which we'll get into later, but I actually enjoyed that one more. But as it was, I had a good time at Ant-Man at the first Ant-Man. I did enjoy it.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
I very much enjoyed it too, and the fact that they brought in more of a historical period of, Ant-Man was someone who was around longer, that the original Wasp was around prior to everything else, and all that was really nice. It was a good way to bring in some historical detailing, but without it being too overwhelming for people to understand, because it allowed them to go back to use in the future movies to do some historical backgrounds, which they were missing in some of the stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's a really good point, showing how it shows how far back this has actually all been going on.
yep.
Yeah, definitely. I really think it was. Yeah, I still think it's a good movie overall. It just didn't wow me up. Yep.
It's actually one of the ones I still go back and watch often, just because I don't know. I
It's
think I
funny.
enjoy it more for the comedic value of it, but it's just still. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's one of the ones I do watch more often.
Yeah, definitely. So now we're gonna get into phase 3. So the first film, Civil War. I love this movie so much. The movie has stakes. It introduces a lot of like new characters. It has great action scenes, and it has and it does something that I think like what the MCU does very well is that it takes a big event and focuses it on like a smaller asset. I know like some people will like disagree with that, but I think that's one of their great strengths in Phase 3 is that they very much, like focus a part of the movie onto something and they make it like bigger. They focus that. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think.
Well,
Yep.
it was an introduction to some other additional details, and it was how certain situations cause other situations to be dismissed by some people, but were not dismissed by others. Um, the whole Accordia thing was part of it. After losing, the battle with, just what should happen if one group thinks they should not be in control, another group thinks they should be in control. You're going to have that conflict of interest and everything. And they did a very good job of trying to explain it and to keep it to a point where it would work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it was pretty good. So, do you got any thoughts, Mike? Are you good?
Oh, I enjoyed. I by far that's one of my favorites. I go back. It's got endless rewatchability for me, and like you said, it brings in so many things together. I think that was one of the important things of Age of Ultron was actually seeing. I can't remember the name of the city now,
Uh, yeah.
uh, but seeing that get destroyed and then using that, the failure at the bioweapons place, the battle for New York, and just all the damage and everything gave weight to where, to the argument that was being brought up in Civil War was that how they need to be put in check. And I think if they hadn't made Age of Ultron and had the catastrophe with the Accordia or whatever,
Sokovia Accords.
Sokovia Accord, there we go, yeah. If they hadn't had that to fall on too, with so many innocents being, damaged and hurt and killed there, I don't think the Battle of New York would have been enough. So I think between that, the beginning of Age of Ultron, and then Sokovia, I think gave Civil War a really strong premise to start out on. And then it just built from there. It was just more than I could have hoped for in a movie. I didn't think they could cover as much as they did so successfully.
Yeah, definitely. I really think I still love this movie, and I did love Spider-Man introduction, and I'll get more into him later on. I've been saying that a lot, but Phase 3 is where I sort of like get really geeky and a lot of stuff. So we're gonna go on to the next film, Doctor Strange. I I enjoyed it. It was good. It wasn't like mind blowing, but it wasn't like god awful. I think it's a solid MCU film that I can put on any time to, like watch, and I really enjoyed it. It's a good movie. Again, I know people saying, oh, it's just an Iron Man but with magic. I kind of disagree with that. I think there is a lot of like different elements to it to make it stand on its own. And yeah, I really did like Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange. I think he's a good character. And
I
Tilda Swinton as the ancient one, I liked her too. She was good. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, like you said, I think Cumberbatch was an awesome Doctor Strange, and that's one of the things I wanted to touch on earlier was just the shout out to everybody that's been doing the casting for all these movies. Every character has just been amazing, I think. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is the perfect born to play Iron Man, all the way up to all the way up to where we're at now. Just the casting has been phenomenal, and I think that's what's made a lot of these so believable.
Yeah.
I was very pleased with Doctor Strange. I'm a big Doctor Strange fan. I have been a Doctor Strange fan for years. When he was part of the Defenders and everything else, so there's been a long history of things I've read on him. I liked how they did it. They followed his storyline so very well to how he became who he is and everything. And I was not disappointed. I actually liked who they decided to do as the Ancient One. They never, them to do it as a female character instead as a Sorcerer Supreme who was giving up her power to the next generation of Supreme was, I think, a well done job. I hated the haters. I thought they were childish when they were like, "Oh my God, the Ancient One's a woman! What the? Who says that couldn't have been a woman? It could have been a man. It could have been a foreign."
Well, actually, wasn't it like the fact that she was like a white woman? Like the fact like that was like very politically incorrect though.
No,
Technically.
it's not. See, that's the thing. Everybody puts so much emphasis. If you ever read the comic books and stuff like that, there is so many historical things that are so badly done in the comic books that they, and then they brought to the movies, they took some of the characters and switched the gender, not the genders, but they switched the background of them. Who was it in one of the series of stuff? They made the person a different the different ethnic background that really got a lot of people upset. When it's like, why? Who says? Most of the comic books are written by white men for white audiences. The MCU is allowing us to go beyond and above that to allow anybody to be who they are. And that's what I really liked about when they picked her and stuff.
Yeah.
And Cumberbatch, I loved him in Sherlock Holmes, the BCC series. I thought he did a wonderful job. I mean, it was only 2.5 years or whatever, but it was very well done. And some of the other stuff he's done over the years, he was phenomenal as Doctor Strange. I mean, he had that look. He could give that presence of being someone who won't take no nonsense for anything. And the fact that he seemed to know a few details that were not yet to be given out and stuff that were in some of the later movies and stuff. So I like that because of the fact that he got the time stone. So he knew a little bit more what was going on in our world. But of course, like you said, if he says something, it's going to ruin it for the world, because being forewarned of something happening will cause you to not take the right actions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do agree with that. Yeah, it's good. So do we got anything else to say about Doctor Strange?
I don't think so.
I'm fine with what we got so far. So next.
The more and more you like it, it's and
You're cutting in and out.
Yep.
the everything about that, I think it did a really good job. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, absolutely.
Quit reading.
I know. How do you know I'm reading?
Because the way you get distracted slightly.
I'm sorry. It's distracting when when the guy keeps texting me over and over again. It's like, oh, like this corporation type thing. And yes, I get it. It's a corporation. I understand. It's corporate filmmaking. All right. I'm not stupid. It's just, oh my God, Jesus. People take movies in the film industry way too goddamn seriously. They take it way too seriously, and that includes us as well. It's like, dude, you're not a studio exec. You don't care about that. Like, you're not an independent filmmaker. Well, you're probably a failed one if you're a journalist. But again, I'm not doubting you. But it's like, really, really. I'm sorry. It just it. Sorry. Anyway, it's a good movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's a great segue. So yeah, it's just. Anyway, yeah, it's a good movie. Do you guys got anything else to say about it?
Which one are we on now?
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
I'm so bad at this. I'm sorry. I get distracted too easy with like
That's why I said
negativity.
quit reading his stuff right now. Just pay attention to this. I liked it. I didn't like the storyline as much. I liked the development of the characters more. I liked the fact that they did go into Peter Quill's historical background. The fact, though, that he's the celestial son of Ego, the living planet. Oh, bite me.
Mhm.
That pissed me off. I mean, that's the only because I know more what they were trying to do, and it's like, that's not going to have happened. That will never have happened. I know the whole, because of my background in the comic books, I allowed a lot of the things to be, let's go that direction. That's fine. But some of it is like, oh, they're reaching so hard to tie things together, to give a reasoning for things.
Yeah, absolutely. I really do think it's yeah, it's great. Mike, you got anything else to say?
Actually, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I did enjoy.
Yes.
I wasn't a whole fan of the ego father-son relationship thing either. I didn't buy that one as well, but it was kind of neat to see how they did do ego, because I was curious how they were going to bring that character on the screen. So yeah, I mean it's not by any means the greatest movie ever, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is pretty good. So anyway, I'm really excited for this next one, Spider-Man: Homecoming. First up, I want to say this is my favorite MCU movie. I love this Spider-Man movie so much. I think it's better than the Sam Raimi movies. I think it's better than the Andrew Garfield movies. I think it's on par with Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse. Again, Cinephiles are gonna come after me, and you know what? Fuck them. All right. I love this movie. I love the Tom Holland character. I love the villain, Michael Keaton. I love the high school element to it. I just loved every aspect of this movie. The suit didn't bother me that much. I think this movie is really good. And again, look, I also love Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse, all right? I love that movie too, but this one to me stuck a chord with me, all right? And yes, I know it's Disney, but you know what? Whatever, right? It's like anyway, I'm sorry. Just
Don't
yeah,
be sorry. You have to like what you like. You
I
can't
know.
like what people tell you to like.
I know, like okay, I'm sorry to get more content here. That's what's wrong with film journalism today. Like I'm serious. It's like if you thought like Fox News or CNN was propaganda for like political agendas, film like especially the Hollywood Reporter and like these other war crime sites, they like sort of dictate to you, oh, liking this stuff's bad. You can't like the stuff that's bad. And look, it's okay if you have that opinion. If you're not into the stuff, that's fine. That's okay. I see other movies as well, but I'm just, oh my God, those cinephiles just, oh, I cannot wait to get this article out. I'm gonna send it to all of them, and they'll probably ignore it. But you know what? It's fine. I'm just tired of this backhand of mine that I shouldn't like this, and it's stupid. It's just so dumb that people take it that fucking seriously. Look, man, I love Homecoming. It's fine. Yeah, it's from a corporate studio, but
I,
whatever.
I think the fact that you look at it this way,
Yeah.
Spider-Man was okay when they did it, the first three movies. And then they redid it, and they did it for two movies. And then they redid it again. They finally found the right feel, the right character. The age is perfect. They don't have some guy that looks like he's been on should have been out of college for the last 20 years playing Spider-Man the first time. And then it's like, because it actually happened to him in high school. He was bitten by a spider on a field trip. They did it perfectly for starting it out. His first big villain character, yes, that was his first big villain character, was the Vulture. Yes, his Gwen Stacy was his first crush. Yeah, everything. They did it right. They took it and they did it with a kid who is insecure about his own who he is. He's a geek. He's everything everybody tells. We were always part of that group that no one liked because we were different.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. He is that Spider-Man is me. It really is something that I love about the new Spider-Man. He is very much a geek. He's not this like Hollywoodization of a geek. He's like an actual geek in a way, and I absolutely love the character. He's great. Loved him very much. Yeah, he is a great character in the MCU, and I hope, and I'm so excited for Far From Home. Again, I know Endgame's the end of this era, but a new chapter begins, and I'll go into my thoughts and what Phase 4 should be. So yeah, do you
Actually,
got
I
anything
heard.
else?
Actually, I heard home or Far From Home is actually supposed to be the end of.
Uh,
I guess there's still something they wrap up from Endgame and Far From Home. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm excited for it, and like everything you guys have already said, I don't want to keep repeating because yeah, I enjoyed Tom Holland. I enjoyed the story. I was kind of leery of having another origin story of Spider-Man, but I think they finally really did it right. So you don't have to go through the whole thing again. And
yeah,
I think they got right into his character development really quick. And I think they did everything right with that. It felt like a Spider-Man movie. It had the
yeah.
right balance of comedy and action and stuff. And I just thought it was a really solid movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you on that. I think it is a great Spider-Man movie. And again, look, if you don't like it, fine. But and I've had this happen to me a lot of times on Twitter and Facebook that I'm stupid for liking this movie. And I gotta tell you, man, next week we're gonna make a full episode on this issue. I want a full hour dissecting every part of that. So yeah, anyway, sorry. I know I'm on a crusade and that's bad, but it, I'm just tired of hearing about it, man. Like, look, if you don't like it, fine. I love this movie. Deal with it. Anyway, we're going to move on to Thor Ragnarok. And again, this is another one that I really enjoyed. I love Thor Ragnarok. I think it's the best Thor film out of the trilogy of Thor movies. I think I love the character of Thor in this movie. I love the Hulk Bruce Banner dynamic. I love his interactions with Valkyrie. The villain was so, but I also liked Carl Urban as the other guy. It was a good movie. It was really fun. Korg was awesome. Like it was a good movie overall, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites out of the entire MCU. I think it brought a whole bunch of, it had a very 80s feel to it. It just kind of felt very nostalgic, and the characters all just got along phenomenally. The chemistry was great with everybody, I think. And the introduction of Valkyrie, I loved her character, and I thought her and Thor had really good chemistry on screen. So I just by far one of my favorites.
Oh,
Yeah, apps. Yeah, yep. Sorry about that. Can you go on?
For myself, I thought it was a really well designed and developed storyline. You got to figure, okay, we didn't know what happened with Hulk. He disappears. We don't know what's going on with Asgard, and stuff. All these things they did. The only thing I didn't like in them is making Hela their sister to Loki in Thor.
Yeah.
Mythology. Oh, wrong. That did not make me happy.
Wait, what?
I'm Norse. I'm Scandinavian, Norwegian, very much Norse.
Oh yeah.
For them to take and use Hela, who's the aunt to them, not the sister, pissed me off. She's the sister to Odin. She's not the sister to Thor and Loki. Them to do it that way just irked me beyond belief because they really messed up mythology, and that's the only main thing. I liked her as a character, though. Oh my god, that woman was a bitch. She slapped them all around, and to make her that powerful, more than Odin, really was wow. Okay, your firstborn. What the fuck? But then to have Thor realize his true power was internal, not his hammer. I love that.
Yeah, I really, yeah. Again, look at the Hela story probably wasn't the greatest, but like overall, like everything else other than the villain, I really did love. I really love this movie so much. Again, 2017 was another great year for Marvel that not a lot of people understand, but that's fine. I mean, again, I'll say this again. I'll say it 1,000 times in this fucking video. It's all right to have your opinion, all right? If you don't like any of these movies, fine. It's all right. In fact, why are you even watching this video? Like here's another thing. I'm sorry to keep going this. So if you hate the MCU movie so much, why the fuck are you still watching them? Like there's obviously something drawing you back to them. Why are you going to give them money if you know you're gonna hate it? It's stupid. Like, oh my god. Like it's just like the stupidity. It's like it's like, or it's like you're like attracted to negativity or something. It's like you're like this magnet of like nihilistic cynicism just pulling you like into it. It's like Jesus Christ. Oh, if you want original movies, go out and see those. All right? End the story. Anyway. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
No problem.
It's just it's just stop taking the bait. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna go on to Black Panther.
It was one of the best movies for doing a amazing job of concept of what Wakanda and everything was, and to tie it into the MCU. It really helped us understand who the Black Panther was, to understand that his life and everything, and then to have it at the end of of this movie, he's going, we need to help everyone out there, and they go back to, where was it, Bronx, or where was it that where his uncle had died, that he went back to fix that what they forgot themselves as being a people, to take care of their own. I think it's a great story of, let's change things. Let's do something positive out of the hate and everything that happened within, outside of our influence, and let's do something to make it better. I really liked Black Panther. I was like, oh, they did a great job. They couldn't
Yeah.
have done any better. And to actually bring in the Warriors and everything else, and his sister, I loved her. She was a sassy gal, and she knew how to make her brother really well. It was a very good good lead up to everything that was going on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Are you still there, Troy? I
Yep.
can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, just wanted to make sure your voice is like breaking up.
Oh, I bend my head down and my headset sometimes slides.
Oh, it's all right, too. No worries. It's okay. So yeah, I'm guessing you really love the movie. I
Yep.
think it's good. So yeah, at the end of this, before we go into Endgame, we'll talk about our like favorite MCU movie. All right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So Mike, you got anything else to say?
Honestly, I enjoyed Black Panther. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it might have been overhyped a little bit,
Yeah.
but I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a really good introduction, and like you said, it was important to get Wakanda in there because of just their technology and everything that they brought to the table. So it was a really good. I like how they tied it all in together in the end, ultimately. So it was a solid movie in my opinion, and I enjoyed it. So
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So actually, I want to get one more thing before I get into the thoughts here. Um, the trolling for these fucking movies has to stop. All right, I'm sorry. Like the nerd sites, nerdrotic, world class bullshitters, geeks and gamers. Just stop, please. Just stop. All right. It's pathetic. All right. Like, you know what's funny to me is that they complain Captain Marvel and Black Panther are SJW propaganda when
God,
on
yes,
Netflix, there is a documentary on how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez got to be in Congress, and I was dumb enough to watch that, and I'm saying, wow, this is actual propaganda. And it's not some dumb superhero mainstream movie is propaganda. Now, look, are there liberal messages in the movies? Yes, that's fine. But if you don't want to watch them, you don't have to.
there's also right wing messages in them too. You know, everything
Yeah,
can
you
be
know what I
solved
mean?
with a gun. You know, they're they're all they're all kind of embedded. So I think people
Yeah.
look for that kind of thing
So,
just as an excuse to hate on something.
so yeah.
I just look at it this way. I mean, if you were to meet some of my family members, you'd understand. I take everybody with a grain of salt. If you're stupid enough to believe in all the bullshit that's out there and not really watch what people say on TV, what they
Unfortunately,
say in Congress, what they say in their speeches, you're
Yep.
stupid.
Yep.
dude, like, you know what? Unfortunately, I was that for a very long time. Like, and I'm actually making a political show like on the side here. So yeah. Oh, by the way, the name of that channel was Normie Politics. We got 3 episodes already on, so if you're interested, you guys can go watch them. You're probably not, but you know, whatever. It's where liberals and conservatives debate stuff. But anyway, I'm sorry I'm like getting off beat here. It's just that tweet really pissed me off so much, and I'm
The-
just fucking
well, the
done.
other thing that pissed me off too is like Rotten Tomatoes allowed people to judge a movie before it was out.
Yep. Yep.
And they changed that policy after what happened with Miss Marvel.
Yeah, it's pathetic, man. It like these are the people are the reason why like nerd culture is such a fucking joke to like a lot of people. It's because of those dipshits online that like can't shut up for like a bit or two, and are
Yeah.
just like it's just like Jesus Christ, people. Like it's like there's this one YouTube channel I actually used to love, and then I realized he was kind of an ass. Was Aaron Clary, and it's like there are these people called crusaders, and they put everything they have, their life, their value into crusading. And unfortunately, that's most people in the political spectrum, that's most people in other vast majorities of life, and it's everywhere. It's like everybody is crusading for some bullshit purpose. And it's like and I've had it, man. It's like, look, I understand whether it's fanboyism, whether it's political gains or something, it's everywhere. And it's just if you think pop culture's ruining society, you're an idiot. It's not that. It's crusaderism. It's tribalism. That's what's ruining America. It's not a bunch of dumb MCU films. I mean, sure, it's debatable whether they're taking over cinema, but then again, those are 3 movies out of 200 movies. All right,
Well, that
they
and
don't.
those are weekend escapes for a lot of people.
I'm
I have
sorry.
enough separation of reality versus fiction to where I can go enjoy a movie for 2 hours and not have to think about my problems and or all the real world shit that's going on. And
Yeah,
I could go take a break and just enjoy some mindless fiction.
yeah,
Or
absolutely.
or
And
something
again,
with a good story. Anyway, that's movies are a distraction and they well not a distraction, they're an escape for a lot of people.
yep.
And that's one of the things that, like you said, that gets me so mad about people that critics that criticize other people for liking a movie. It's like who are you to tell me what I can and can't like?
Yeah.
That's like you telling me I can't enjoy pizza. I was like, I'm sorry, no, that's not true.
Okay, now look, and look, man, I don't just go see MCU films, as I said a lot on this channel. But seriously, if anybody tells me, "Oh, you're an MCU fanboy," well, yeah, guess what? I actually went to go see 2 other films that you probably never heard of: Hotel Mumbai and Beach Bum. If you've heard of those movies, I'm impressed. But if not, shut the fuck up. All right. Anyway, it's just so dumb to me, and it's just like, and
Well,
I'm not
that
even.
then the polarization of it all too, like you said, the guy said, "Oh, you're an MCU fan." I was like, "Well, I can be an MCU fan. I can also be a Star Wars fan. I can be a
There you
fan of
go.
anything. I can be a fan
You
of a
can.
bunch of things at once. I can multitask."
It's so dumb to me. It's like people are like put in this like dumb capsule. It's sort of like this crusader bullshit. It's like, oh, if you like this movie, you're a dumbass. It's like
Yep.
it's how stupid is that? Like 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 are you like that okay, you know what? It's all no, I think it's crusaderism, it's technology, it's really anyway, I'm sorry. And back to Black Panther here. Black Panther, I think, was a really good movie. I think it had a good villain, had a good had a God, I sound like Alex Jones here. It's like, oh, I got here's our new body spray. It just God, I sound like Alex Jones like on this fucking podcast, but whatever. Yeah, anyway, it's just like, excuse me. Oh my god. All right, yeah, anyway. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I think if people again, maybe a little overrated, but overall, if people think of it as their favorite MCU film, that's fine.
Oh
That's
yeah.
okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah, it's good. Anyway, on to Infinity War. Second favorite Avengers movie. I think the movie was pretty damn good. It had a great villain, it had great atmosphere. Maybe not a lot of character development for the other characters, but there's like 20 other movies for that. So you're pretty much okay in that aspect. So yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's pretty good. Good movie. Loved seeing I saw it twice in theaters. You guys got anything to say about it?
For me, it was like I said, Thor was always my favorite good guy. Thanos has always been my favorite bad guy. To actually finally see him get the full role in a movie like that and everything, that Infinity War was just a childhood dream come true for me. It was everything I could have hoped for, and probably just for those selfish reasons alone, it's probably right at the top of the list for my favorite MCU movie. Just because of Thanos. And I know that's probably one dimensional and all, but he's been a favorite character of mine since I was in grade school. So I followed him my entire life, and I just loved his struggle, and I loved his character, and I really enjoyed how they did his development and how you got to see inside of his head in the movie. I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to bring some of that out, and I thought they did a really good job.
They did a really good job of his historical background, of what he was entailing. The whole Marvel Universe's comic life of him was he understood that we were overpopulated.
Yep.
We were destroying our own planets, race by race, solar system by system, because we were overpopulated. We were just so many different things. I actually liked him as a character. Josh Brolin did a fucking fabulous job.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
he did.
he did a great job in the movie. I loved him very much. Yeah, very, very much. It was a good movie. So yeah, I think it's a good one. Okay, Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was not that great. I'm sorry. Like I tried to like it very much so, but I just couldn't. I mean, I love Ant-Man as a character. Like it's really weird. People saying, "Oh, is your favorite character Captain America, Iron Man, or Thor?" I mean, I love those guys, but my favorite characters are the dumb ones. Like it's Ant-Man and Spider-Man, all right? I know. Weird society we're living in. We have Aquaman as the number one DCEU movie, and we have fucking Spider-Man and Ant-Man as my favorite MCU characters. I know. The world's a pretty screwed up place, but you know what? Hey, we can't have a little fun along the way, right?
No, Spider-Man's totally seeable. You know, I mean, he's been the face of Marvel forever. So yeah, Ant-Man's a funny choice, but at the same time, like you, I enjoyed both of the Ant-Man. I enjoyed him just because of the character. You know, it's just like I said before. I think Paul Rudd brought a really good edge to it. I think you have to have a certain degree of comedy in an Ant-Man story
Yeah.
just to kind of sort of get you through. So
Yeah. Hey,
I think they played him really well.
yeah, actually, hey guys, I'm sorry to get off topic here. Do you guys think I should like put reviews on this channel as well? Because like I might as well, right? Because like I don't know, like Instagram posts and like Letterboxd are kind of like a lame way.
Don't give it where it will allow it to be posted right away. You have the right to look at it, so you don't
Yeah.
get those troller haters
Whatever.
that will
Or
hate
people that
anything. Yeah.
Try to post spoilers.
Yep.
You know what? Definitely. Yeah, I will put yeah, I'm gonna start like posting reviews on this channel of comp movies, non-comp movies, all types of movies. So I can like so if any of these assholes say me go, you just watch MCU films, I'll have like proof
Yeah.
of sources where I'll put them, and they can look at my own voice and they can shut up. But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't like Ant-Man and the Wasp that much. So yeah, what did you think, Troy?
I loved that they did the Wasp and they made it, and they brought more of they brought the history of the original Wasp and the fact that Hope, their daughter, was the new Wasp and everything else. Because in truth, which was funny, is Ant-Man never had, all he could control was ants, where the Wasp had the actual firepower. I liked her having the firepower. I liked her doing what they did. I liked the fact that they delved into the microverse, which they're talking about doing a movie for that now. That's another story. So there's just a lot there that I really enjoyed, and I thought they really did a really good job with it. I like the fact that they introduced Hope into it a little bit, gave her more of a history. The fact that they were being chased by our own government because of what they had done, to the introduction of Ghost, the introduction of who Black Goliath was in the 70s and 60s and 70s as a character, which he was, and everything. I liked they did that. They did a good job of really taking the characters a little bit farther, which they needed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, that's great if you liked it. That's awesome. It's your opinion. That's fine. All right, gentlemen, let's get on to the final two MCU films, and that is next Captain Marvel. I liked it. It was good. All right. It was a fun comic book movie with a really great main lead. I think Brie Larson is pretty good. And again, here's another thing. Why the fuck is like everybody on the internet so obsessed with this lady? Like she didn't do anything other than a speech back in 2018, like a year ago, and people are still talking about it. It's like, why? Just, oh my god. Anyway, yeah, I think it's a good movie. I think it's good. It has an okay villain, but yeah, and the supporting cast was good. It probably leaned a little too much on nostalgia, but overall, I think the movie was great. I mean, was good, not great. Good. God, I like mix up great and good way too much. It's like good, great, good, great, good, great. It's like, what do I do that? It's just, oh, yeah.
You get too excited.
Maybe so. Maybe I'm too distracted from those goddamn tweets. And again, he's pointing to me right now. He's like, keeps on sending me these fucking links. It's like, dude, I don't
Jeez.
care. All right. I don't care about movies that much. All right.
It must be a
Oh,
boring Sunday for that guy.
dude. Again, crusading, man. It's
Yeah.
everywhere. It's fucking real. It's fucking real, man. It's
As
like,
for Captain Marvel,
okay.
I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good movie. I don't know. It kind of felt forced, I guess. Kind of like they were just kind of cram it in right before Endgame. Because
Yeah.
I think she's a much better character probably than what they gave her to is just a battering ram for spaceships and just an endless battery. You know, I don't think they really got to explore her enough.
Yeah, okay. There is one criticism of the MCU I will say is like, dude, they really need to stop doing 3 movies a year. Like maybe 2 at most, but 3 is way too goddamn many.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
was
They're literally giving ammo to the criticizers, man. They are literally giving them free ammo. And thankfully in 2020 they're gonna have like 2 movies, and I'll probably skip the Black Widow origin story because I kind of don't care. Like she's well, I'm not gonna say what she is, but you know,
right,
but
right.
yeah, so I'm just gonna skip that one and go see something else that weekend. But yeah, it's good. It's a good movie in my opinion. And again, I will say those Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp were kind of filler movies, so that didn't really help the buzz for Endgame. You know, would have been great though.
Captain
Th-
Marvel,
Mhm.
I felt, set up a lot more people to be part of the MCU.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if you know her history,
the
if you
Kree
know,
Skrull War.
yep,
Yep.
and if you know who some of the characters that were introduced to you as her friends, like the little girl, she herself might be one of the future superheroes. Um, the fact that they introduced Star Force, which was the team she was on, which I liked the fact that they introduced it. I wish they would have done a little bit more with the Supreme Intelligence, but that's fine. It still was an interesting concept of her saying, she's always was down on herself. She couldn't control her power. And that was the truth. In the book, she was like always judgmental of her own self.
Yeah,
So them to do that as part of the movie and then have her learn to let loose and to get close to being her binary power, which was
yeah.
that because she can take any energy source and convert it. I'm like, okay, let's see where they're going to go with her next.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to a Captain Marvel 2 or something to tie in with a new Avengers team or something. I'm just waiting on that to see where they take it next. They better take it someplace. If they just do this as a one shot, I will not be happy.
yeah. They'll make a sequel, man. It made like $1 billion, so it will be fine. Don't worry about it. So yeah, I think I also really like the message of just being yourself. And again, I've been talking about this other thing. There's this other like movie on Netflix called Unicorn Store, and it actually relates to a lot of the stuff that I'm doing on this channel of being more comfortable with yourself. I really do love that movie, and it was directed by Brie Larson. It also stars Samuel L. Jackson. Love the movie. It's really good.
I've seen it. I watched it. It's
Did you
good.
like it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's quirky.
And yeah, and again, there's
What's it called again?
Troll still. Yeah.
The
It's called
Unicorn Store.
Yeah, it's directed by Brie Larson. It's a great movie. I loved it.
Okay, cool.
I know.
It's
You
a
make
little
it a
it's a little strange.
Oh, that's fine. I enjoy those. I enjoy those kind of movies.
Yeah, and it
yeah.
was perfect for Netflix to do.
Cool. Okay, I'll have to
And
go
you
check
can
that one out.
watch. You see, guys, Mike here's a nerd, and he can also watch independent movies. It's
Oh, yeah.
totally fine. There you go. Easy. All right. Let's all get along here. Let's put our pitchforks down. Let's just enjoy something,
Oh,
please.
hey,
All right.
I'm older. I'm basically both of you together for a number of years. I've done this, so
There you go. This is why I had you on the show. I'm sorry.
yeah.
This is getting out of
That's
hand
another
now.
reason. That's another reason I need to change my profile picture because I don't think he knows how old I am.
Oh yeah,
Oh no, you
I can
told me,
see.
but still, but for the number of years together, I've been
Oh,
doing it since I was 12. So depending on when you started,
It's
yeah.
all
It's,
right,
it's,
man. It's all okay, man. I'm like only
it's
like
all good.
I'm like young. Anyway, okay, final half will all be devoted to Endgame, and then we'll talk about the future and stuff. And then we'll just wrap up our thoughts in MCU. All right. Actually, you know what? Yeah. Okay, so finally, Endgame. What did you guys think of it? What you go in the full spoiler territory now? Because everybody's seen it. It's made about $1 billion in just one weekend.
oh, okay. Um, okay, you're gonna hear a long time. So I went with one of my good friends yesterday to go see it. The theater that we went to, the third floor of the theater, that's all it was Avengers Endgame. Every theater, there's like 10 of them on that floor. They were all Avengers. They had the 3D version, they had all of it. You cannot drink anything prior to it or during it if you don't want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It was that long, but it was worth every minute. I did end up having to leave for just a moment, but it was like I basically ran to the bathroom, turned around, ran right back. And I missed a few things I know, but you could hear people cheering from the theater when the one of the big things happened, and it was a shocker. It was a major shocker. Everything they did was well done. Um, I'm not happy with who died, who retired, and who's no longer coming back. They are major players, which I think it's going to be interesting to see who replaces them. I am glad that if you know what's going to happen with Disney Plus, we know why one of them got the shield.
Yeah.
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 And what's funny is there was a lot of guys who were crying in the movie. I was
know,
one of
right?
them. I don't care who you were. If you didn't cry or at least feel something, you're dead in the side.
I actually didn't cry, but I did too. But I did like water up a
But
little bit.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You still felt something.
Yeah.
So if you went to this and you didn't feel something, why are you even going to these movies?
Yeah, right. It's like, what's the point? It's like, if
Exactly.
you don't like these movies, why are you fucking going to it? You're just literally.
Well, you figure these characters have been around for 10 years for us. You get to know these characters, and that's what you know them as, is these characters. They could do other things, but you know them as these characters. And to have things happen, I loved how they made Thor a little bit on the heavy side. I think they did
Yeah.
a really good job of him being his depression hitting because of the fact he knew he failed, but he didn't fail. He just was, the timing was, it's you. How are you going to succeed against someone who's a semi-god at that level when he has the gauntlet, he snaps his fingers? How?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the movie is pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I
I wrote
loved
it before.
every damn second of it. It was a great conclusion to these characters, and it will be it set up a new chapter of the MCU that I look forward to see, and I hope yeah, it's good. I okay, one more thing here. Sorry. Okay. The movie was awesome. I loved every second of it. Like this probably is my God, Homecoming and this one are tied for like the best MCU film of all time. So yeah, like they're both like squick together. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. So yeah, every part of it I loved. There was not a single part of it that I hated. It wasn't. It did everything right for me personally.
It had good conclusions to a lot of things, and it had good allowed future things to be there for the future on what to expect in the next 20 years. Who knows where Marvel will go, Marvel CU will go.
Yeah, I and also like the endings, the Captain America ending, that was pretty good. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is now my most anticipated MCU Phase 4
Oh
movie.
yes,
Yeah.
because they're going to be searching for Gamora. That's going to be part of that movie.
Gamora, Adam Warlock, Thor. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great movie. Sam Wilson's, that was pretty great. Like the final battle was so badass. I love this movie so goddamn much. It made me happy, man.
When you start seeing the teleportation circles start opening up all over, you're just like,
Yes.
everybody,
Fuck yeah.
everybody went, yeah,
That's good.
everybody,
That's great.
because you knew what was going to happen. You knew we're going to kick ass. Here the Thanos thought, oh, you guys, I'm going to take it away from you. I'm going to win, and how much everybody fought for everything at that point. Oh, it was hard to watch, but it was very well needed to be watched. And so, especially when you know that some of the characters didn't die for Wakanda, but they showed as soon as their king came back, you just knew that there was so much going to be tied in. And so that, so I'm like just so much anticipation of what they're going to do next and what they're planning to do in the next couple of years. I mean, I've already heard some movies that they've already signed up people for, or what they're working on currently. So it's going to be interesting to see what is next.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to like the next phase of the MCU. And again, some of them I'll probably like skip, but others I'm really excited for. Like I'm pretty excited for the Eternals, um,
Doctor Strange 2.
Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2. There's like a lot of good ones I'm excited for, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty good. All right. I just think next this phase they need to like lower the amount of movies released per year because 3 movies is too goddamn much. It's too much. I'm sorry. I
Well,
love.
and to do one like that extensive, I mean, 3 hours.
Yeah,
But they couldn't split it. This is one they could not split into 2 movies. Period.
they could not do that.
And they couldn't make it in less than 3 hours. They're probably going to come out with a director's cut, which will be even longer.
Yeah, I'm good. I love the movie as it is. All right, and especially the end where they like sign their names. That was great. I loved it. It was a good finale. All right.
We might actually get a Hulk movie that might be good.
Maybe, but I'm ready. I'm ready to like move on to like some new characters. I'm ready to
Yeah.
move on to like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man. I want to see what these guys can do. I want to like experiment more with these ones. My one thing I hope the MCU does in the future is that they focus more on the new characters and they focus on like the individual stories and how they evolve and stuff like that. It doesn't need to be tied to this like one big thing, which is awesome for this one, but I want them to do something different for the next couple of phases if there are more. And they probably will be, and depending on who asked, I'll be the dystopian nightmare, but whatever. Who cares? Anyway, I love the movie. So Mike, what did you think?
Oh my god, it was it was it I know I've only seen it once, so I'm going to see it again tomorrow and probably again on Tuesday. Who knows? But I know I'm going to see it several more times at least, just because I know there's stuff I missed. I fortunately was lucky enough to it didn't seem like 3 hours for me at all, so I didn't have any bathroom break issues. So
I had too big of a pop. That's why.
no.
Yeah,
I had
definitely. I
one.
didn't like go to the
I took a
bathroom at all,
couple of
actually.
sips during the previews, but then I was like, okay, I need to slow down. I'm drinking too much of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, right during the freaking 16 previews they put in front of the movie, I waited till like close to the end, went to the bathroom one last time, and the next thing I knew, the movie was over. I was like, holy crap, that was 3 hours. So I enjoyed the hell out of every minute of the movie.
Yeah, it was a great fucking movie.
It was a high impact 3 hours. It didn't leave anything. And to finally see from all the previews what the fucking uniforms were all about.
What
I
the
kind of
hell?
knew what they were about because I recognized it from when Hank
Well, a
Pym.
lot of people did that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, how we're trying to like, how are they going to work that?
Oh yeah.
What are they going to do? And then the fact that they did the quantum, and the fact that he goes, I was only in there for 5 hours. It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, and then him's going, it's time differences there. And like, and then him, and that's the thing. Scott is smart. He just doesn't have a lot of the technology levels like Iron Man and everybody else did. He was a smart man,
Yeah.
and they did a very good job of doing that, because you figure, his buddies. So it's going to be interesting to see if they bring another Ant-Man out, because what happened to his buddies? What happened to his team of friends? His friends
Right.
that he dealt with. Did they live on? Did they disappear? It's going to be interesting to see if what they do with the fact that his daughter now is her age and everything. And I don't know. Did you guys see? Okay, have you seen the YouTube thing about who that boy was?
Oh yeah, it was the
Hero.
kid from Iron Man 3. That was
Yes.
pretty funny.
Iron Lad. I don't. That's all I'm saying. That's
Yeah,
Iron Lad.
man. So anyway, do you guys have any thoughts on the MCU as a whole overall? Because I want to say this again. I love this franchise so much. Like seriously, I know some of the movies weren't great, but it stuck with me for like most of the years that, I was kind of struggling, and these movies were always something to look forward to. And I love these movies, and I will continue to love them for the rest of my life. And maybe one day I'll show them to my kids if I have any. And yeah, and I look forward to seeing the future. And this franchise got me in the movies. It got me into like other filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino and stuff like that. I am so happy with this movie, and I cannot wait to see what happens next in the MCU. And I'm excited to be next on this journey. And again, here's another thing to say: if you don't want to watch any more Marvel movies, this film ends the conclusion, and you don't have to see any more if you don't want to.
Correct.
That's kind of a beautiful thing about this movie. If you want to leave, you can, but if you don't, it's also fine too. Like everybody wins in the end with this one,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome.
So Henry, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you take your uncle to this one or not?
No, I actually am taking it to it next weekend.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I can't talk to him yet.
I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. He'll be good. I gotta see like 2 movies next week. I gotta see like The Long Shot and Endgame again. I gotta get my film. I gotta be more well rounded, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Well,
then
the
again,
thing is,
that's like an obligation.
I'm glad you did see it this morning, but the fact that you went with your mom, you didn't go with your uncle, I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
My mom is like not like a nerd at all. She's like, these dumb grown babies liking this stuff, and she cried too. So it's kind of, she's like, Henry, I understand now. You can enjoy this shit again without me judging you. And I'm like, okay, that's good. So yeah, anyway, I think this is gonna wrap it up for you guys. Next week, we're gonna talk about film fandom as a whole, film journalism and stuff like that. And it's probably gonna be a very angry video of me yelling and screaming. But you know what? I'm sorry, man. And I'm also writing an article on film fandom and journalism and the elitism that's been inhabiting it. So yes, anyway, guys, thank you for coming on this thing. I'm really proud of this episode. I hope you guys come on for another episode. Thank you guys. So you guys want to say any last thoughts, or are you guys good?
Oh no, I'm good. Thank you. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the heck out of it.
Yeah. And again, guys, I'm really sorry that I was angry during this film. I just that asshole, man. Like seriously, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, okay. So yeah, this is it. Share this video around, subscribe, and hope to see you guys next week. And
Yep, sounds
also,
good.
see you. Bye.
Bye.